that was in the room?
On December 4th, Whitney and Justin had a terrible fight. I heard it, I didn't see it. But I went to lunch with Whitney that day, and she was just beside herself. Justin had said they didn't have a relationship, and she was nothing to him.
That's what she told you?
Yes, that she was completely broke, that he'd swindled her out of all of her money, and that she didn't know where she was going to live or what she was going to do. She also at that time informed me that Justin had stolen a 55-inch TV that was in his room and pawned it, and that Justin was completely out of control. He was up all night, banging safes that he found in the dumpster, open at 4 o'clock in the morning. He was up all night dumpster diving and then passed out all day. And she was left to do all of the listing and the posting and the selling of the things that he found. And that was an impossible situation to live in.
Now, Mr. Sweeney, it's my job to use whatever legal skills I learned in school, but also historically based upon my experience to be able to judge whether somebody is making up a story or there is truth in that story. Now, Mr. Williams doesn't look as if he has, I don't mean this to be disrespectful, sir, a really vivid imagination that can make up that kind of story about dumpster diving and putting the things that you found in the dumpster on the internet to sell them.
Sure.
Doesn't sound to me as if that's a story that you would make up, you know, unless you were on Valium and you were having a great dream at night. You would say, oh, my God, I wonder what this means the next morning. That's not a story he made up. So I want you to understand that what he just told me, I believe. Got it?
Got it.
That your girlfriend did, in fact, confide in him on a day when she had it with you, what was going on. Now, maybe you all made up, but what he told me about what she told him, whether it was true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that...
If I may, we have evidence showing that the TV he just said that I told him was pawned, it was actually on a later date than what he's even claiming. I have proof of what the rooms looked like before my children and I moved in.
Is what you're telling me that you did not have that conversation with him? Is that what I just want to know. Don't tell me what evidence that you have.
I had a similar conversation, but what he is saying, specifics, no, I did not.
Well, let's have your version of...
Yes, ma'am.
Justin is sleeping. You have lunch with the plaintiff, and you are venting about your relationship with Justin.
So Justin actually...
You have to understand, I believe it.
I understand.
Now, you may have certain differences in what you told him, but I believe that you had that conversation, and I believe you were venting about your relationship with your boyfriend.
There was some frustrations. Justin was not sleeping. He was actually dealing with personal matters at Lakewood Municipal Courts. So he was not sleeping. He was dealing with the court.
He was dealing with the courts. He wasn't working.
And I actually...
Just a second. He wasn't working. He was dealing with the courts.
Yes, at that exact time, yes, ma'am.
Yes. And
however, he does work during the day.
I own
he does
my own
work.
LLC company, and I don't dumpster dive. I buy storage units and clear out evictions.
Okay.
And we do work late nights, especially with my kids being younger. It's easier for me to get a lot more work done when they are sleeping versus when they are awake. Because when they're awake, of course, my attention goes to them. So
did you sell bonds in order to... My question is, that's very easy to figure out. Did you sell bonds that your grandfather had left to you in order to pay your bills? The answer is either yes or no. How much did you have to sell?
It was $150 worth.
Did you have more than $150 worth of bonds?
I had a total of $300 worth of bonds, and I sold $150 of it to cover the remaining portion of what I owed.
For rent?
Yes, for my portion.
So clearly, the work that you were doing with his LLC was not covering, is it $300 a month in rent?
No, ma'am.
$1,500.
I'm not speaking to you.
Sorry.
You have to understand, Mr. Sweeney, you come from a place when you do a case. Mr. Williams is in the business of renting out rooms in his house to make money. He wants tenants. He wants tenants who are respectful of his property, pay their rent on time, act like normal, responsible people. That's what he wants. Now, if what you're suggesting to me is, what you say in your answer, is he kicked you out of your rooms,
Right.
I have to say to myself, unless Mr. Williams has a substantial psychiatric history, which I doubt, was in a facility for mental health issues, was on drugs and looking at him, and I have a very good sniffer for that, which is not true about him. There had to be a reason, if he kicked you out, why he kicked you out, if you were good tenants, respectful of your fellow tenants, and paying your rent on time. There had to be a reason, because he rented you the room.
I have audio from Mr. Williams stating that he's kicking us out because he lost his daughter to social services for reasons that were completely unrelated to us, and he blamed us for those reasonings. I have audio of him.
I would like just a second. You had a daughter living with you?
Yes.
How old?
13.
And she was removed from your custody?
She removed herself.
And
she
who did
called
she-
social services.
And who did she go and live with?
She went and lived with a friend that she goes to school with.
On what date did your daughter leave to go and stay with?
December 1st.
Is she still there?
Yes.
No, Your Honor, she's actually with her mother down in Florida. I speak with her constantly,
Daily almost.
I wasn't aware that she'd moved to Florida.
and it was more than just a fight. This had been going on the entire time I resided at the home, and I were very close. Justin and I were very close. It was not a simple argument. He called her names, belittled her, got rid of her
Listen to me.
property.
Listen to me. It's clear to me that if you were all living together, the two tenants probably, I assume out of goodwill, befriended the 13-year-old. You mixed yourself up in somebody else's business. Clearly, since how old are you?
I'm 30.
A 30-year-old doesn't have a 13-year-old as a friend.
My daughter's
Okay.
10, so I was close with her because my daughter and his daughter were friends.
They were friends. Yeah.
A 30-year-old doesn't have a 13-year-old as a friend when there's a family dispute. There's a mother and a father, so now she's down with her mother. Her mother didn't want her staying with a friend, so her mother said, you can come and live with me, but she had been living with her father. There's usually a reason for that. Now, you don't have to tell me what the allegation was. Did the allegation have something to do with you? That's either a yes or a no.
No. It
Does.
decided that she'd rather trade in her father than do the dishes and feed her pets.
Okay, so you had a
And
fight
that's-
with her.
That's
We had an ongoing discussion and argument
You had
about those
you had an
issues.
argument with your teenage daughter.
Right.
Did you blame either one of the two defendants
No,
for
they
causing
had-
that argument?
They had nothing to do with
I have audio
Okay.
stating that
So
he
I'm
did.
going to listen to it. I'm setting up my own case. Don't interrupt me again.
Sorry.
As far as you were concerned, they had nothing to do with your daughter moving out.
No.
Now
and
I'd like-
they were actually in good stead with and helpful with her.
So tell me what triggered the idea that Mr. Sweeney contacted social services.
I don't recall what the details
Well,
of that
try.
were. I have been.
Clearly, you were very upset that your daughter had left and you had gotten a call from social services, right?
Yes.
And there had to be some inclination that you had as to why either one of the two defendants called social services rather than your daughter contacting social services. They may have suggested she do that, but you had to have something in your head which suggested that either probably Mr. Sweeney, based upon your conversation with Ms. Simpson. So tell me what triggered the idea that Mr. Sweeney contacted social services.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if I may, during that period,
Who are you?
I'm his witness, John Chadwick.
To what?
Pretty much everything that acquired into the house, as far as Justin and
Do you know anything about this particular question that I'm
I
asking?
do, I do.
Then stand up. Tell me your
During-
name.
John Chadwick.
Do you live there?
I do.
How long have you lived there?
I've lived there since August, late August.
Okay.
I am the property manager.
Okay.
During this time period where all this had happened and Mr. Williams kicked Justin out, he had befriended, and they were buddies, to say.
You mean his daughter?
His daughter. They had
So-
gotten really close. So she would confide in Justin and Whitney, and that's what made Jay assume that they had called on him.
Well, then you're calling for the operation of his mind. So what you're saying is he had no information that they were the source. He just thought, since they had been friends, that they were the cause of his daughter being
Absolutely.
removed.
And because of after we seen the room, after we kicked them out and went and viewed the room, it was unbelievable.
Where are you living now?
I've just been staying in hotels. I haven't been able to find a place yet.
With whom?
I've been staying with her, putting a roof over her head and our head.
And the children?
The children, the daughter is with her father, and her son is with her mother. We had to make sure that they were taken care of in a consistent place.
You do that by both getting a job.
I have a job.
Without an LLC.
Your Honor, and I have a job. I'm actually coming back out to California 2 days after we get back from this, and I will be gone for 2 weeks setting up a business and helping jumpstart a business, which I will be paid for. I do have a job.
No, you have the promise of a job. Right now, you have 2 children. Neither one of them are together with each other.
Because
Just
Mr.
siblings.
Williams made false accusations about me to Child Protective Services. I
Which
have
we
an
have the audio
audio
report.
which states he will contact Child Services against me because he doesn't like the way I'm living my life. He flat out says he will say what he has to in order to get my children taken away, just as we did to him with his daughter. Your Honor, I
We
have
have the
jumped
evidence.
through hoops with Child Protective Services. I've done everything they have asked, including random urinalysis tests. I have passed every single one of those with flying colors.
Well, then I think...
every
then-
accusation
just a
he
second,
made.
Just a second. Do you have a lawyer?
No, ma'am.
What jurisdiction do you live in that you don't have a lawyer?
I live in Jefferson County.
In where?
Jefferson County. I don't have an attorney because I can't afford an attorney.
No, the state has to provide you with an attorney, madam.
For what? I'm
the-
sorry. For what do I need an attorney for?
Your children are...
They're not taken from me. I have every legal right to my children. It was my choice to keep my children in places where they have a roof over their head at this current time. All of the false accusations that were given to Child Protective Services have been completely unfounded. I have every right to both of my children. It was my choice to have them stay where they are staying. They still get time together. They are with family. They are not displaced.
Miss, you know that I was in this business before I took this job for 25 years?
Yes, ma'am.
I know all about all the story.
Okay.
I know the whole real story.
Okay.
Is what you're telling me that a child protective case wasn't opened up by Child Protective Services about you? Just a second.
There's a lot of backstory.
Listen to my... I don't want to hear the backstory. I already know the backstory. I know the backstory. So, Child Protective Services didn't file a petition against you, but they have an open case.
No, it is closed.
It's closed.
Oh, so you can go and get your children whenever
Yes.
you want.
Yes, my
So why
children-
don't you get a job and get your children?
I'm working on that.
Okay.
That's why I did
All
just
right.
get a job.
I'm done.
I did just get hired to do this. I
done.
am getting the income.
Okay, very good.
As far
I got
as-
it. I got it.
Your Honor.
I got it. I got it. Now I will hear your audio tape.
Okay, I have 2 of them.
can sit
This
down.
one, this is actually when I went to the property to get my banking information in order to get the U-Haul to move out.
This is after you had already been out.
Yes.
Okay, so you had already been thrown out
Yes.
because he says you trashed your rooms.
Yes, which is
Okay,
not correct
just a second.
either.
I'm just putting it in a time frame.
Yes, ma'am.
He had already told you to leave.
Yes, ma'am.
You were coming back to get your property.
Yes, ma'am.
His daughter had already removed herself from the house
Yes, ma'am.
after they had a fight, went to stay with a friend.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, putting that in context, you were thrown out. Now you have an audio tape, and now I know that you keep in touch with a 13-year-old. Now I will hear your audio tape. Go.